Hey guys, I'm back once again, and here we got it. This is the Colorado State EDU product again that I've been showing you. It shows up the best on here. This is the GOES 16 East, full disc, natural color. Guess it's another satellite array that might be up there on the GOES 16. That would be my guess. UMETSAT, I think it's a European satellite. But anyway, that's really not that important. But there it is again. The planet, or whatever it is, came into focus on the 17th of October, at least my focus anyway. May have been there a few days before because this wasn't a site that I often checked, but a lot of times through a serendipitous coincidences, if you will, for some reason I get led to or prompted to pull up a site, and when I do, I find something crazy like this. It's happened time and time again throughout my 7 years as a watchman. So I believe the Lord led me to this site. Still really haven't seen anybody reporting on. WSO touched on it a couple days ago, and well, he didn't make a big deal out of it. I knew he'd have to mention it, being that my videos are getting a lot of play. Being the good COINTEL pro that he is. Anyway, enough of that. But you know what? I'm just sick of lies. So many lies. Here we got Willa. This is, we'll put it up to 9. So I've been looking at all this stuff for a couple hours. And then I spent some time in prayer to cleanse myself from all the filth, spiritual filth in the world. Anyway, enough of that. Here's Willa. Look at this. That's the highest wind speed, 63 miles an hour, 64 miles an hour, only in the north-north quadrant. It's color coded, so you can see. So there's Willa, the big Cat 4 hurricane that government weather shills are reporting on. I guess the government's given us wind speeds that are, and even then I bet you they aren't that high. Look, even at 1,500 meters, it's almost a mile up. Wind speeds aren't that high. And as you go higher, oftentimes they get slower. So, I mean, where they're coming up with these 160, 150, 140 mile an hour numbers is beyond me. There's 500 meters. I mean, it's just crazy. And people buy it. I mean, everybody is frickin' zombie. All that zombie talk, I think they're just laughing at us because everybody really is a zombie, basically. Oh well, so there's Willa. Here's goes east. This is a water vapor loop. Now you can see we got a lot of dry air. This is at the lower level. Said it would be, the troposphere is 33,000 feet. So this would be from the surface up to, I'd say, about mid-range troposphere, maybe 15, 17,000 feet. And you can see that there's a lot of dry air trying to surrounding this storm. And the dry air has acetic acid in it, which attacks the alkaline salts-based chemtrail clouds. Yeah, chemtrails, that's what they have in them, alkaline salts-based, because they're they attract moisture. I mean, really attract moisture. And being that acetic acid and alkaline salts are chemically opposites, the acetic acid in the dry air attacks the alkaline salts-based chemtrail clouds. So once they lay out the chemtrails, they suck up moisture and form clouds. That's what happens. So there you got that. Pause it. That's the latest. So there it is, close up. So you can see these bright greens? That's where they chem bomb in it. And if you watch the water vapor loop, which I don't have time to show you the whole thing, you can see that it started to get eroded, and then boom, they chem bomb it, and then it would come back up. But you can see it's being eroded all on the northeastern side by dry air. All this dry air is trying to get in on it, trying to choke it off. Because they're predicting all kind of rain for Texas and Mexico, of course. But they don't talk much about Mexico, but in Texas. So they got a lot of big plans for this storm. So they're going to keep chem bombing it. You can believe that. So hopefully people will put out enough vinegar to somehow cut this atmospheric river off. Otherwise, we're going to have some major flooding going on in Texas, to be sure. Yeah, I pulled up the ACE. This is the last 3 days. And we got the big gap. Looks like, well, no, I don't think it's out late yet. We didn't hardly have any gap. So normally we were getting, see these gaps here, 4 or 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours. Now we don't have a gap. Coming up on the 23rd, we got a little maybe 1 hour gap there, maybe a little 1 hour gap there or less. But what was interesting, I pulled up Discover to compare it. This is the other satellite that's up there at the L1 Lagrange point. And it says, during times of outages and discovered data or problems with the data, this page may instead display the data from the NASA ACE spacecraft. So, they're having a problem with the Discover satellite spacecraft. Now, here's my theory. Remember how I told, so this is all ACE data, just on Discover. You can see the solar wind speeds still well below average being 400 to 700 kilometers per second. Excuse me. Remember, and I told you that with ACE, we'll punch it back to 7 days, that there was gaps usually from around somewhere near the midnight hour, and it went up as much as an 8-hour gap. So that to me said there was a big planet or something there that was blocking the solar wind from hitting the ACE satellite, collecting data. Then it finally went away around the 16th and 17th. We had no gaps. Can't see that anymore. Then we had a small gap here toward the end of the day on the 17th, and a small gap here, but there was data coming through there. Then on the 19th, it went back up to a 2, 4, 6, about 8-hour gap. Then on the 20th, 2, 4, 6, about 7, 8-hour gap. Then on the 20th, 21st, it went 2, 4, 6, another 8-hour gap. But then, remember I said, and it wasn't showing up on Discover, I said, you watch, I bet you either these gaps are going to pass again, or something's going to start showing up on the Discover. They'll pass completely from ACE and Discover, and we'll never see them, since Discover was recording no gaps during these periods. Or it would go over and start affecting the Discover satellite's data collection. So there we go. There's the last 8-hour gap. Then it started getting smaller again. It's like 4 or 5 hours there, maybe 4 hours there. And then we didn't have a gap Okay, we didn't have a gap last night. So that's on ACE. So here's what I'm thinking. It went over there and it started affecting the Discover, just like I had predicted. Otherwise, why would they have that thing, why would they be having problems with it? I don't know. It's the newest satellite up there. It went up on July 7th, 2016. This ACE one's fairly old. Not exactly sure how old. Okay, I Googled the launch date of ACE, and it was August 25th, 1997. So here's what I'm talking about. So ACE went up August 25th, 1997, and then Discover went up to replace it, or to be a backup until ACE wore out in July of 2016. So these guys are not exactly side by side holding hands, like I mentioned in one other video. But so we got the stuff blocking the data coming to ACE, and now I think it's shifted over. It's not blocking the data on ACE anymore. So we're not even having any gaps, which is pretty crazy. No gap last night. So whatever large object that was blocking data, or a couple objects, it's not blocking it on ACE anymore, and now they have Discover shut down. So the things that make you go, Thank goodness the Schumann resonance is quieted down. Okay, let's get to space weather real quick. There's like a 4-hour gap in here. Okay, it already just passed. It's on the from the 22nd at around 2200 hours. Then it gaps to 0200 hours on the 23rd. The gap's not showing on here, so we'll let this run through real quick. While it's running through, these are the polar cap field lines. They normally just stream behind the planet. Whenever we get intense solar pressure, they close to ward off. That's when you get the auroras. Well, they've been closing in the back a lot because we got all this backside pressure from Nemesis, which emits mostly electrons. The sun emits mostly protons, binary twin, equal and opposite, Newtonian physics. You can see the planets continually being bathed by electron energy. A lot of electron energy. The acidic acid in the vinegar, when it interacts with the alkaline-based salts, you get chemical reaction takes out potential energy from the atmosphere. It uses it up. So this is the CAPE index, atmospheric potential energy. You can see it's quite low, even around Willa. So I mean, it's high. It's usually always high in here because of the high water temperature, but even it's pretty low in there. There's the NextRad facility, or whatever they got over here, pumping frequency into northern Mexico and all of the United States to raise the potential energy in the atmosphere. So that the only reason why we're not having a whole lot of lightning, I mean everywhere, although we have had some pretty bad lightning storms I've seen, is because the vinegar, acetic acid, alkaline salts based chemical reaction is limiting the potential energy in the atmosphere, even though clearly the whole planet's surrounded by huge amounts of electron energy. This University of Michigan geospace site came back up. We got that weird, almost no pressure, although we have some right behind the Earth from Nemesis, but pretty much a pressure equilibrium there. And I guess I'm running out of time, guys. Spent too much time on the Willa, I guess. But anyway, I'll see you again later this evening. God bless, peace, and I'm out.